I'm still sifting my way through this article myself.
No, I love it. I'm doing the same thing.
Yeah, we'll keep taking your calls. We'll go back to the phones here, 888-957-9570. Check this out. Kyle Shanahan on Sam Darnold. Quote, you look at the history of the league, the quarterback is not dependent on one person. You've got to have good players around you. You've got to be in a good situation, and that's always tough. I mean, Steve Young took a while to get going, and he's one of the best quarterbacks of all time. I don't like to compare anyone to Steve because of how good he is, but why can't Sam be like that? He's got that type of ability. He is that type of person, and I'm just pumped that we could get a talented guy like him here.
I mean, yes.
End quote.
Right, and that's a fascinating quote, and I'm also sifting, Mark, as you were relaying that quote. I looked at this one from Kyle talking about his dad and stuff. Quote, I think my dad did 1 year for like 3 weeks talking about having 4 quarterbacks.
Yep.
That Washington team had RG3, Kirk Cousins, and Rex Grossman. Quote, then Pat White out of West Virginia, I believe, went 4-0 in the preseason, tore it up, recalled Kyle Shanahan, and we loved him, so we kept him. But you can't do it too long because it impacts your roster. Mm-hmm. They had 4 quarterbacks in Washington, but you can't do it for too long because it impacts your roster. If you have a 54-man keep roster and you have 4 quarterbacks on there, that means you're going to be without either a defensive lineman, a wide receiver, a running back, some piece that you might need more imminently than a 4-string quarterback.
Yep. Well, and I'll also point out that Mike points out that once upon a time there was this guy who was a 4th-string quarterback by the name of Tom Brady. Tom Brady, 4th-string quarterback behind Drew Bledsoe, John Freese, and Michael Bishop.
Kansas State.
So,
who are you?
Totally, right?
Yeah, quote, if you have 3 quarterbacks good enough to make teams in the NFL, you always keep them. And then that's what I'm happy about because I think we've got 4 right now. You don't see many people keep 4, but it's been done before.
Right. And for a short period of time.
Short period of time.
And I'm fascinated by what Larry said, Larry Krueger, who joined us, who is as close to the know as any 49er beat reporter or expert. He said that he sees Brandon Allen as QB3 based on the salary cap implications of a QB3 making $1 million, and that Trey Lance and Sam Darnold are competing for QB2, meaning that the loser of the QB2 battle is not QB3, but he's QBBB, bye-bye. That's what Larry was saying.
Well, he said that to Reed. That's not information. He goes, that's just my sense because...
Right. But the way he said it makes sense.
Yeah, there's a cap issue, and those guys would be attractive to other teams around the league.
Right.
But add in this fact from Mike Silver, quote, they were willing to listen to trade offers for Trey Lance over the offseason, but didn't act. One source familiar with those conversations said no team offered more than a 5th-round pick, which I think is already higher than what the fan perception is. Fans right now, self-included, we're walking around going, nobody offered anything. But if you offered a 5th a few months ago, now you get into camp, you start to hear all the players, oh, hey, Trey looks great, new foot, new arm, touch, yep, looks great. And then he goes out and plays well in the preseason. Somebody else gets hurt. Does this go to a 4th? Does it go to a 3rd? When do you get interested?
I think a 3rd. I think a 3rd is where I get interested because you're not getting 2 firsts and a future 3rd.
You're not getting
so you're not
with
getting
one
back what you got.
Yeah.
And I think about this in terms of maybe it's because we just went golfing yesterday, but if I bought a new driver and it cost me $500 and I play around with it and I hit it and I don't really love it, and I play another round with it and I don't really love it, and you say, I'll give you $20 for it, that's a no, dog. That's a no from me, dog, if I can use your own phrase. Which I actually said that to my 11-month-old daughter earlier as she was trying to, crawl over and do something she wasn't supposed to do.
That's going to be a no from me, dog.
That's what I said to my baby Mila because she was trying to, whatever. We have a cabinet that's slightly split open, and she's going to pinch her finger.
Yeah.
And I said, my, no. And I said, that's going to be a no from me, dog.
Gaga, goo, goo.
No response from the baby, but I laughed.
Yeah,
I thought it was pretty funny.
Did you get a response from the wife?
She was in the other room.
Okay.
She doesn't want me talking to our daughter with drops and show material. That would be a no from her, dog. But to the point of Trey Lance, a 5th round offer in June, that's going to be a no from me, dog.
Yeah.
But if we get to, I don't know, the end of August, and a team says, hey, we'll give you a 3rd and a conditional 5th, that might be a yes.
Can I just point out one other thing for informational purposes only?
Sure.
This is going to be one of those things that gets people all ticked off.
No caveats.
No,
just say it.
No, I know. I'm already
just do it.
I'm already in Twitter defense mode right now because of Trey Lance takes. Gosh, you know what I've also learned this
You hate Trey Lance?
It's not that I hate Trey Lance. What I've learned is people who love Trey Lance are very, very sensitive beings.
Sure.
Oh my gosh, y'all get your feelings hurt so quick. Yeah, I do think it's fascinating that people will try to tell other people that they know what Trey Lance can do on a football field. He could be elite. You just have to give him a chance. Based on what? Where he was drafted? Because someone told you he was going to be? What is it that has actually happened in reality on a football field that tells you that Trey Lance is someday going to be elite? Now, I will tell you there hasn't been anything that's necessarily preventing it, but you haven't seen anything because it doesn't exist. You have not seen anything that makes you go, ooh, I think we got an elite player here. You have not seen that because it doesn't exist, because there is no way that you saw it and Kyle missed it. That doesn't exist. So this is where we are. Now, when you hear George Kittle and Deebo Samuel and everybody line up around the block, he looks so much better this year. Are they being truthful? I'm going to take them at face value.
Yes.
But there's 2 things that also happen in sports. A, dudes got other dudes' backs. So they're going to have Trey's back because why wouldn't they? He's their teammate. And here's another thing. Professional sports teams have these things called communications directors or head of PR. You hear sometimes us use the name Raymond Ritter with the Golden State Warriors. He's the best in the business. When these players go to speak to the media in front of microphones, they have had prior conversations with the team's PR reps. And yes, they are given notes of things that should be said in public to the media. Yes, they are. It does not mean that they are being liars. It does not mean they're being disingenuous. It is like anything else. We have show meetings, and in those show meetings, hey, here's what's kind of working for us. Here's maybe what's not working for us. We don't get too many of those things, but it happens.
Right.
Here's what's not. Here's what we think is a good path for us going forward. Here's what's a path we want to avoid. The 49ers do the exact same thing. And yes, I believe their players too have been told, let's make sure that the quarterbacks are being built up because that is what is best for our organization.
Right.
You do whatever you want with that, but that's real.
And in general, this time of year, you're not going to hear any pro athlete talking badly about anybody on their team in any way, shape, or form.
They said the same thing about him last year.
Right.
He looks better.
Well, and he probably did look better.
Probably did.
But now he looks even better than that. And what good would it do for any player, George Kittle, Deebo Samuel, or anybody to come out and say, yeah, Trey looks a little shaky. I mean, the motion's not great. The footwork is shabby. He came in out of shape. I mean, that does nobody any good.
Deebo walk over and go, they took him 3rd overall?
Totally.
What the hell are they thinking?
Right. Teammates don't do that, especially in a functional, good locker room like the 49ers have. But to have them come out and say this, I don't know if there are talking points or marching orders or any of that, but yeah, Mark, it makes perfect sense that these guys would come out and try to praise all the quarterbacks. And that's kind of what Kyle Shanahan does when you played what you played about, we like all four quarterbacks. And, the Mike Silver piece that you and I are both reading live on the air and we're gleaning stuff from, and Shanahan saying, hey, my dad kept four quarterbacks. Remember these four names?
Yep.
And this is why we did it. And so, hey, it's a signal that they might actually keep four quarterbacks for a while.
Well, here's one area where I get stuck, and I want to pull up the right one. Yeah, okay. Chencho on Twitter just hit us up, and he goes, hey, he's like, I don't want to get in the fight. He goes, look, I just want to know what it's like to have an elite 49ers quarterback that can throw the ball anywhere, and Trey had that potential. Now, the first sentence, I totally get, and I'm with y'all. Wouldn't it be great if the Niners had a Mahomes, if they had a Allen, right? We know what it's like. We used to have a Montana and a Young. It's really fun when you got one of the best 3 or 4 quarterbacks in the whole NFL. So I get the first sentence. Here's the second sentence where I get tripped up. Trey had that potential. I'm going to say it one of two ways. Either, no, he didn't. He just got drafted third. Or if you want to say Trey does have that potential, then I get to say so does Brock. I get to say that because, yes, elite quarterbacks have come out of the 6th round. They've come out of the no round. Kurt Warner is in the Hall of Fame.
Yep.
You can be elite from anywhere, and you don't have to have these skills that jump off your body when you walk into a room. Joe Montana was elite. Nothing jumps off of him when he walks into the room. So if you want to say Trey had that potential and you want me to agree that, yes, he did, okay, fine. So does Brock.
Well, so does Sam.
Absolutely.
So does Sam Darnold, and Brandon Allen might as well. These guys are professional quarterbacks in the most competitive football league known to man on the planet Earth. And if you're able to compete at all at this level, then you've got the potential to be one of the greats. I think what he's saying is they want to have a quarterback who is among the best in the league. And you have to go back to 1998 to find the last time the 49ers had one of the elite quarterbacks in the National Football League, and that was Steve Young. And if you go forward from there, Jeff Garcia was an underdog. He was a good quarterback. He was functional, but he was never one of the best in the league. And I heard somebody earlier, it might have been Steiny and Guru, talking about Pro Bowls. Can we have a quarterback for the Niners who makes a Pro Bowl? I think that's where the bar is set right now. Forget being the best in football, because right now we can do Mahomes and Burrow and Allen, and we can play Aaron Rodgers. We can play the game of who are the elite quarterbacks. Well, Brock and Sam and Trey and Brandon, they have a lot of work to do to get into that company. Even Justin Herbert, who hasn't done as much as Brock Purdy in terms of playoff success and all the rest of it. But in terms of perception and success, Brock, Sam, Trey, and Brandon, they have a lot of work to do to get into that company.
It's interesting that you think that the bar is Pro Bowl, and I get exactly what you mean, except for, the Pro Bowl also, like, half the guys, it feels like, make it because dudes bow out and everything. Plus, they're in the NFC. Like, what if you just made me think of this? What if I asked you this? You think Brock Purdy's got a chance to make the Pro Bowl this year?
Yeah.
NFC.
Absolutely.
So everyone's going to go, well, Jalen Hurts. Okay, fine. Who's next?
In terms of the NFC.
NFC. Who's going to the Pro Bowl?
Yeah, Kirk Cousins, a good guy.
All right, Kirk, maybe Dak.
Maybe Dak.
Right? Maybe Geno.
Stafford.
Didn't Geno go last year?
I think so.
feel like Geno went last year. Right? Derek Carr's now in the NFC. Jared Goff had a really nice year, has a good team around him.
Sure.
You think Brock could be one of those guys?
Absolutely, he could be.
So do I.
Well, if the Niners have the kind of year that they're expecting to have, and let's just put 13-4 out there, that would be a good year. If you go 13-4 and Brock Purdy starts all 17 games, you would imagine that he'd be right around the 4,000-yard mark, and he would be 30 touchdowns and 12 picks for a team that wins the NFC West and is maybe the 1 or the 2 seed. Absolutely, he would be a Pro Bowl quarterback.